Hey guys, Engineer Wannabe here. Today we're going to be doing a review of the watch on my wrist, which also happens to be my wrist check, so we're going to skip that part altogether. It's a review of the Omega Seamaster Professional 300 Nekton edition. I've been able to spend quite a bit of time with it now, approximately a month and a half. So I feel like I'm ready to do a review. I kind of expedited it. There are a couple of other watches that were supposed to go before this one, but I may not have it for much longer. We'll see. And I'll talk about all that after in my subjective section of this video. But yeah, let's go ahead and flip the camera and talk about this watch. Okay, guys, as usual, first things first, let's go with the dimensions. This is a 42 millimeter diameter watch. It is around 13.5 millimeters thick. Its lug to lug is about 49.5, according to my measurements, and its lug width is 20 millimeters. So it's a big watch, and it does present itself a little bigger than 42 millimeters, I think, mainly because of the helium escape valve and how the crown guards kind of protrude out. It takes a bit more real estate on your wrist, but at the same time, the lug to lug is kind of compact. It could be shorter, but it's under 50 millimeters, and so I think it's weirdly wearable, but at the same time, it's got a lot of presence. I guess that's the best way to put it. It's got quite a bit of presence. It's a beautiful watch. If you take a look at the dial, you can see that it's a gray dial. It's got these polished waves on it. So very interesting. I know Tim also said that these waves are actually raised. I can't really tell from looking at it with my naked eye. I haven't really looped this watch. I haven't really felt the necessity to loop this watch. You see the indices on the dial are beautiful. They're extremely tall, and so they really help you get lost in this dial. It's absolutely beautiful. And of course, to top it all off, we've got a red seconds hand and red text, red Seamaster text. So all these things kind of really add up to a very interesting and dynamic dial. Not to forget the fact that this has no date. So it's very symmetrical as well. Very nice, very pleasant dial to look at. All of that is overlaid with the fact that there is a healthy application of anti-reflective coating on the inside and the outside of the dial. That may be a con to some because the outside anti-reflective coating will get scratched eventually. Cross that bridge when you get there. It's kind of easy to get polished out the outer anti-reflective coating, but then you will lose some of that clarity that you get right now, because right now it feels like you can stick your finger in and touch those indices. That's how clear this watch is on almost any occasion. The hands are a bit contentious of a topic here. They are skeletonized, and that may not be to some people's preference. I really had an issue with the previous generation Seamaster skeletonized hands. With this one, there's something about these skeletonized hands that feel a bit better, feel a bit more okay. Maybe there's a bit more lume on these hands compared to the previous gen one. I can't really verify that, but it just feels a bit more legible. The issue I had with the previous gen one, though they looked nice, I couldn't read them as quickly and as easily. With these ones, it seems very legible and very easy to read. Now let's talk about that bezel. It's a 120 click bezel, scalloped edges, meaning it's not the easiest to grip. But this is a titanium bezel. Well, let me just play the ratcheting sound here so you guys can take a listen. So it's a really sharp detent, and I'm not sure I like it. It's okay. Overall, it doesn't feel tinny or weak. It's very precise. There's no backplay. It's very solid. but it doesn't have the greatest feel. The titanium insert here has been laser ablated. I really like this steel bezel look, or in this case titanium. I really like this look. Definitely a huge fan of it, and I enjoy this dimensionality, this added dimensionality. Everything about this watch just is 3D. There is a lot going on the Z axis, so very interesting for sure. Let's talk a bit about the bracelet. I like this bracelet a lot. It's a 9 link, if I'm not mistaken, and it adds to the drama of this watch. I mentioned a few times over the past month or so that wearing this watch makes me feel powerful in a weird way, or kind of like I'm wearing a weapon or something. I feel like maybe that's a bit of subliminal messaging that I've got over the years watching James Bond with my dad or something like that. Seeing the Omega Speedmaster on Pierce Brosnan's wrist. Uh, I guess that might have something to do with it, but just in general, this watch, it's heavy. I didn't talk about the weight. It's 175 grams, size to my 6.25 inch wrist. That's heavy. That's really heavy for for a watch that's got almost all its links taken out. So 175 grams. It's heavy. All that kind of adds to the drama of this powerful, really aggressive watch. The end links are really nice. It's captive to the bracelet itself, so I'm not sure if that matters to you, but the end link is captive. And just overall, everything about this bracelet is nice, except for the fact that the links are kind of long, and they don't. They kind of have a clumsy drape over the wrist. Let's talk about the clasp. The clasp has quite a few degrees of micro adjustment. On the fly adjustment, you don't even need to take the watch off to do the adjustment. It's actually really well done. And we've seen this from Omega for some time now with the Planned Oceans at first. Now it's moved on to the Seamasters, Seamaster 300M. So very nice micro adjustment clasp. The overall length of it is manageable. On a small wrist, this can be a big problem, just the length of the clasp. But here, the clasp is manageable. The length is good. And even on a 6.25 inch wrist, you should be able to wear it without it jutting out on either side of the bottom of your wrist. So I think Omega did really well there. Tudor kind of has to work on that with their clasps. So if you look at the case back of this watch, you're going to see a really nice engraving or stamping, a beautiful, beautiful case back with multiple different finishes of Nekton, the Nekton submersible in the seabed. So it's very nice to look at. Not sure how I feel about it. I like the movement, the way the movement looks. That said, the movement on this watch is kind of small. If I'm not mistaken, the 8806 is a little smaller of a movement, so it might look a little awkward on this case back. But once you see this this image, which is really nice, it's really well done, you're kind of done with it. That said, people have differing opinions about the case back, whether it should be display or not. Yeah, I think I probably would have preferred a display case back over this Nekton picture, but that's personal preference, I suppose. The 8806 is a very nice movement. It's got a 55-hour power reserve. It is anti-magnetic. It's got a silicon balance. Its escapement is coaxial, meaning there's less friction going on. There's less heat and less susceptibility or less need for lubrication on the escapement, and thus it takes it can last longer in between services theoretically. So very nice caliber, and I think it's fitting here. The 8806 is the no date version of the 8800, if I'm not mistaken. So very, very capable, very high-tech movement here. that is also METAS certified. A really intense testing going on it. Magnetism, power reserve tests, accuracy tests. It's rated for 0 to +5 seconds a day, so it's never going to be running slow. Theoretically, you get a lot of bang for your buck when you do get that movement on a watch at this price range. So I am very happy with that movement. This specific one is running at around +1, +2 seconds a day, and I am super thrilled with that. Really, really happy with the accuracy, really happy with the performance of this watch, and I couldn't ask for more. One thing a lot of people are not going to like is the helium escape valve, the manual helium escape valve, which is a bit of a signature for the Seamaster, whether it's a Planet Ocean or this Seamaster Professional 300M. I didn't like it at first either. I actually kind of preferred the previous gen's more cylindrical helium escape valve. This one is more conical, so it's easier to grip, I suppose. But who's going to use it? I don't care about how easy it is to grip. That said, once you put it on the wrist, it kind of disappears. A lot of people say that, but it's true. If you look past it, it kind of disappears, and you might even find yourself liking it. I found that I start to like it, start to grow on me like a wart. Well, guys, I mentioned earlier that I might be moving this on. I think the only reason I would move this on is if I managed to get a 40mm Planet Ocean. The 39.5mm Planet Ocean I think would fit my wrist far better. This is big. I understand it's really big on my wrist, especially my tiny wrist. But I may be getting the Planet Ocean. We'll see. I don't know if I'm willing to let go of this guy. It's a really interesting watch where the Planet Ocean is kind of more boring, I guess. This is a bit more eccentric. It's got that gray dial, the waves, the helium escape valve that's conical, and the dramatic bracelet and all those things, while the Planet Ocean is kind of more reserved. And there is that reserved side of me as well, but this is a fun watch, and it's not my daily wearer. So when I feel like wearing a big watch and when I feel like wearing something a bit more eccentric, I go for this guy. So I think it has a good place in my collection. That said, that Planet Ocean is really tempting because of how well it wears, and that seems to be my dilemma right now. We'll find out soon if I move on to the Planet Ocean. I may not. I may stick to this guy, and this might be a long-term keeper. Not a keeper, long-term stayer. Anyway, guys, that's really it. That's it for the review. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you all are doing well. Remember, guys, time is short. We are running out of it. So remember that you are worth it, and I appreciate you. You specifically. I do appreciate you, and I'm really thankful for you. So I hope you are well wherever you may be. I hope you have a fantastic day, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye, guys.